Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Aspie Bridge. This is week 2 of helping you, the neurodivergent individual who says, I'm done with working for someone else. I don't want to do it. They don't treat me well, but I have skills. I have skills that I really want to work on, and I know I can do that. But help! Help! I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get this brain and all of the things that are going on inside of it to work so I can run a business. And this is week 2 of bringing on neurodivergent successes who run their own businesses, who know how to do it. And they can help you to know how to do it. Now, you'll notice this podcast, well, you may not notice on YouTube, you'll see it, but this podcast is extra special because we didn't broadcast it at 11 a.m. because for my dear guest here, it was 2 a.m. in the morning in South Australia. So we have decided that we're going to do our own time because we want Sharlene Lynch to feel comfortable and be at her best. We don't want to expect her to come on at our time. Sometimes adaptation in your job is crucial in giving yourself grace to say, well, this is just the way it goes. And that's okay. Because so often we get all bound up like, that didn't go to plan. How come it didn't go to plan? You need to relax, give yourself grace. And at that, I'd love to have Charlene tell us all about herself and tell us how you became a business strategist and speaker. I love speaking. Believe it or not, in 2018, you wouldn't have caught me on video. I didn't do it. But I work with Lisa Nichols, and here I am, 97 episodes into the Aspie Bridge. So, welcome, Sharlene Lynch. I'm glad to have you from Adelaide, South Australia. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to be where you are now.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you for being so gracious and allowing us to schedule this at a reasonable time. So we started the conversation at about 7:30 this morning. So that is better than 2:30 in the morning. So thank you for that. And let's face it, when you're watching on YouTube, do you really know if it's recorded? Nah, maybe not. So it's all good. So hello, everybody. It's so great to be here. As someone who has spent a long time crossing the bridge, and then wandering back again. And then, so I reckon I spent more time standing on the bridge than I did getting across it because I was not diagnosed until fairly late in life. And even with my dyslexia, it was only because my parents kept pushing to say, look, you keep telling me she's not smart, but she is smart. And I was failing pretty much across the board, but they couldn't figure out what the problem was. Why wasn't I fitting a round thing into a square hole? So my parents kept pushing, and it wasn't until 13 that they actually diagnosed me with dyslexia. But the ADHD and the OCD would come much later. And so I got the trifecta, yay,
Yeah.
all three. They seem to go together. And then all of the interesting side effects. So, for those of you who are listening, you probably know what I'm talking about. So, I had a predisposition for addiction, and that's because of my neurospiciness. And so that looked like being an alcoholic for more than 30 years. It also looked like becoming a hoarder. So, not just a little tiny hoarder, I've got some clutter in my cupboard. I'm talking 33 cubic meters of stuff, like a lot of stuff. Like the type of hoarder that people make movies of, there's a lot of stuff. So yeah, so this is how it manifested. And obviously I had lots of other mental health issues as well because of the late diagnoses. If I'd known earlier, would have things been differently? Maybe, maybe not. I just thought I was a round thing in a square hole and and a little bit different than everybody else. But now after really leaning into how I'm abledly different, so I don't call myself disabled, I call myself abledly different, is that I've managed to find it as a superpower, use my OCD instead of for self-harm, which is where I was back in the day, use it to just perform differently. My ADHD, you manage that. You don't actually perform with it, you manage it. But
Hmm.
it means that I get to turn up differently for myself and support myself on a daily basis. And with my dyslexia, do you know what? Now I reckon it's a superpower. And in fact, actually, interestingly enough, that LinkedIn have it as an ability. So it's no longer considered as a disability. So I love it. So how did I get here? A long and windy road, lots of years on the bridge to get to where I am.
Yes. Oh, great, great. Thank you. I understood that trifecta. I have ADHD, but the autistic first until I get into business, and then I get the ADHD part of it because I have too many ideas, which we're going to talk about in a few moments. I have all these forming ideas in my head, and I would love to hear your input on that. But before we go there, my trifecta tends to be I over focus. Oh my gosh, I over focus on everything. I can't hear things in the world when I'm so focused on everything. That's the autism part of it. And then a pattern. I get such into a pattern of seeing things I don't understand why other people can't see them. So my OCD is I can't leave things alone if they're not in a pattern. I have to find the pattern and that's how I function well. And then the CPTSD that I had growing up where I didn't feel special, I've learned that I can help others understand how to come out of that neurodivergent hole that they feel they're in. They're in mud. To let them know that they are perfectly wonderful. It's the other people around them that are projecting their own personal insecurities onto them. So mine is autism first, I learned, which took me from a red delicious up to a green apple. And then the ADHD, which is so many ideas in my head, not knowing what sequence to put them in. And then the CPTSD is I know I'm strong. I know I can do this. Help! So that's where I'm at is and a lot of the reason why I'm doing this series is I can use the help from all of you. And believe me, I'm going to be getting a neurodivergent money business manager as one of my people because that's where my challenge is. If I were to look at all of the strengths and challenges I have in running a business, it's not the ideas, although I have a lot of them and they do swim around out there. It's managing the back office money handling situation that I have my challenges in. And as I say, I'm going to find a neurodivergent money manager to help me there. So, anyway, what is a business strategist? That's exciting.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Thanks, Susan. Thanks for asking. So it's different than a business coach. So a business strategist, what we do is basically when people come to me, they're at different parts of their journey. They're either already got runs on the board and they are having challenge leveling up, like getting to the next level, earning more income, bringing in more people, working with the systems that they already have. Or they're brand new and they've got lots of ideas and they just don't know what direction to go. Or they've already got lots and lots of runs on the board and are doing amazing, but now they need to have other people step in to do the amazing for them. So they need to have people do the delivery for them. So they're either at one of those three places, just started, got some runs on the board, but looking at leveling up, or they're absolutely amazing, but now it's time for them to, you know what, what's my exit plan? I need to take a step back. How can someone else teach the magic that I do? And how can I maybe take more of a CEO position and live more the lifestyle that I'm looking for? So what a business strategist does is have a look at basically what it is that you've got to work with, where it is that you want to go, and then what can we work with, how can we work with what you've got? What other efficiencies can we find so that we can get you there faster? And because I'm 60 this year, fire horse, right? So I've been around for a hot minute. And what I noticed when I stepped into running my own business, that I stepped into running my own business at 15. So I didn't tell the truth about my date of birth when I started. Avon, remember Avon?
Right,
So,
yes.
yes, knocking on doors, selling cosmetics. So,
I did
so
that.
they thought I was much older, but I was only 15 when I started because I got kicked out of home. So I needed a way to make some income on the side. So, so even from then, I have always, I've seen so many different ways, and this is because of the neurodivergency to get the job done. There's not just one way. And if you're looking to work with a business coach or a business strategist and they just tell you there's this one way, it's because they only know this one way. So I would just run. They're not a good fit for you. Now,
No, I've discovered them.
because we're neurospicy, we need someone that can take us a different path. We need someone that can support us with all of our brilliance and our shininess, and also maybe sometimes give us a little bit of guardrail to point us in the right direction, and like little bumper rails down the bowling alley, so that we can sort of just stay in the lane. Because one of our challenges being neurospicy is that we just go all over the place. And that's a combination of that entrepreneurial spirit, because entrepreneurs don't have an ideas issue, they have a focus issue. And so if you're neurospicy, we do have focus issues, yes, and we can use those challenges if we know how to use them correctly. So if you're hyper focused, you can still use that. Yeah, so there's places that you can use that. So a business strategist helps you with the strategy of the business. And specifically what I do, the magic that I bring, and this is because I'm dyslexic, is that when you speak, I see images. Like that's just how that's how we work. It's how we make sense of everything. So what
Absolutely.
yeah, so what I do as a business strategist, as my zone of genius, is I unpack visual frameworks that support the genius that you are so that the rest of the world can understand what you do. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have to say that when I was working on a course called The Emotional Side of Money, I saw Venn diagrams in my head. I didn't just say two people talking about and fighting about money. I saw a Venn diagram like this is your money, this is his money, this is your combined money. So yes, I get that thinking in pictures. I get the Venn diagram going in my head and helping people. Now that's where my hyper focus on relationships could teach people how to talk about money from the emotional side, not from the he earns, she earns side.
Yeah. So, yes, money in previous relationships for me has been an issue. Either it's been one-sided or there has been previously. So this the relationship I'm in now, so I'm now married to,
Yay.
I must say, the man of my dreams, who has loved me from afar for like 36 years, but I didn't know that. That's another podcast. And so yeah, since the moment we met, we've just never had a money issue. We have considered everything as ours, and we just talk about money like it's like a completely different. Like there's no emotional attachment to it. We make decisions, we have conversations. No one makes a decision without the other one knowing over a certain limit, I must say, just so you know. Don't
Hmm.
have to
Hmm.
explain everything. But yeah, it's been because this is a very faith-based relationship, and so the dynamics have definitely changed, and we're older too. Yeah, I love it. So I love it.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I had to put the emotional side of money into my business because there was so much emotion tied around it. And it was kind of like, my money's going, so I'm going to borrow your money. Wait, wait a minute. And it's like, no. So I had to teach people how to create that third account so that your money wasn't being taken by him and his money wasn't being taken by you. So that's why I came up with it. And I think that when we look at our past and see where the patterns are, this is my pattern recognition, you bring that into your mess becomes your message, helping others to go through that same situation. So let's get into into the fact of your unique way of thinking and how does that help with business success? Because I know with all those ideas, how did you bring those ideas into uh, control and not overload? Because I know you have a section all about how to control overload. So that's kind of a double question right there. What was your thinking that contributed to your success? And how did you keep those ideas from overrunning you?
Yeah, I love it. So before we start though, if you the first part of your question was about business success, and I think one of the reasons why all of my businesses have been such a success is because I've put the customer first. And
Hmm.
I've always seen everything through the customer's eyes, and it's always been about the customer journey and the customer experience. So even when I was running a bridal business, when I was running a makeup academy, like all of the things that I've done beforehand, it's been because I wanted the experience for the customer. Now, and this is where we share, as we were talking before we started recording, we share a similar experience because I grew up differently, thinking that I was a round thing in a square hole. There was something really wrong with me. Is that I know how that felt, and I really wanted to make sure that others didn't feel the same way. So exactly the same. And so
Hmm.
I always have gone above and beyond to make the customers feel amazing. So whichever business I've ran, and that is true today with this business, that the customers walk away feeling, wow, that was so much more than I was expecting on every level, and they feel empowered to move forward with great strength. So how do I deal with my neurodiversity and particular challenges? Now with AI, we're so lucky is that when I've got to do a data dump, it is straight into an AI app, yeah, where I'm just like verbally vomiting, and then I can ask it to make sense of it, yeah. So that's what we can do now, and I use that all the time. I'll do that when I get a little bit overloaded. I'll do a verbal dom. I've actually got a project called CEO Brain Dump. And one is just to do the dumping, and then the other one sorts it into a sequence, and then just says, these are your highest priorities. This is what can be given to somebody else. And this can be shelved. This could be put in Asana for a project in quarter 4. So it goes through, it does all of that. But I didn't have all of that before. We've only been using AI. Well, I've only been using it since late 2022. So that's only the last, 4 years. But before
I've
that,
only been using it for 2 years, so I get that.
so, but now it's journaling. So back then, beforehand, it was definitely journaling. So it's about getting the thinking out. It's about getting the thinking visual. It's about getting the words out. And so for me, what would happen, and this is actually one of the things I teach people in the mind shift process, is by putting it into your journal, what will happen is that you'll see the patterns. So we see them as being neurospicy, but norms, they'll still see the patterns because they'll keep repeating. So by journaling everything out is really what made a difference. The other thing I've really noticed that's really helped me is time framing. So giving myself specific lengths of time. If there's a task that I don't want to do, I'll allocate maybe 10 minutes to it. And then if I did that, then I'll maybe give myself another 10 minutes. I love Pomodoro timing, so 25 minutes and then a 5 minute break, 25 minutes and a 5 minute break. I use that
Okay.
all the time. And then I also color code my calendar. Like my VA just laughs. In fact, her version is just one color because she can't handle it. So my version is so everything. My personal care is one color. Work with clients is another color. So I can just look at it and I can see if it's balanced as well. Because when we hyper focus, we like just focus on one thing, and so it overtakes. And then I can just see, oh, wait, that's just a lot of that color in that calendar. And so the calendar actually adjusts itself and tells me what to look out for. And so I'm using technology to help me manage myself. I also make sure I have lots of white space in my calendar as well. Take time off, and where I can, I only work 4 days a week. So I'm making sure that I'm taking care of me. But I haven't taken care of me, and so I know what price I've paid. And how is the business so successful? Because I take care of me first. Yes.
Yeah.
But I really make sure that the customer has a great experience. Does that answer your question?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there is so much that we can relate to. Um, a lot of people are often saying to me, "There's no way you're autistic because you are so friendly and so communicative and so helpful and so and so and so." And I'm like, "But that's exactly what you're saying is like the customer comes first. Yeah, I have 100 other things to do, but if your needs aren't being met, then I'm not successful." And I love that aspect of it. When you were talking about some of the other things like the hoarding, I have to move every 3 years. Otherwise, I will be like that. So there's nothing more than, and my family goes crazy because I move so often. But it's my way to keep the 30-year then both my mother and my mother-in-law both had 30 years in the house. I'm like, no, no. So I will move so every so often just to keep going through my stuff and consolidating and assessing. So I liked it when you were talking about that because yeah, right now I look around like, oh, too much. Okay. Gotta get rid of more. Let's get back to the ideas. I love the color coding. What a brainstorm. You can look at a week and say, oh, there's too much green in there. I need a little bit more red or a little bit. That would be self-love for me. I need to get into the yellow work time. And then with my having both two jobs, one out of the house and one in the house, I got to balance that too. What you have some great ideas, Charlene. Thank
Oh,
you.
oh, Susan, I love it. And you know what? Everyone can do it. You can just use the Google Calendar and assign colors to things. And the Google Calendar app on the corner gives time insights and shows you exactly how you're breaking it up. So it's not an app you have to pay for, it's something that's already there. And I've been using it for a very long time. It's been so helpful to manage my spiciness.
Oh, definitely. One other idea that you were talking about, the journal and AI. Yes, the journal. That is how I think I did 90% of my healing was, and I taught this to a client this past Friday because she was saying that there's so much darkness in her. I said, what happens when you pour white paint into dark? Eventually it gets lighter and lighter. I said, but now if you take a black pen, you can pour some of that black out of you at the same time. She's like, oh my gosh. So she's going to sit down with black pens and let that black ink in her come out as I pour the white ink into her so that she can become a nice soft gray.
50 Shades of Grey.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm all for titanium. I don't know if you ever know Sia, but she sings a song all about titanium. Yes, yes, you do. What a great song for us neurospices to realize that we are stronger. Not with fire away. Go ahead, fire away at us. We're not going to fall down because we are resilient. We've learned how to be resilient. You from your background, me from my background. That's the way we have to be if we're going to survive. But that survival has led to success, hasn't it? When you allow yourself to come out of the mud, come out of the victimhood, take a look at where your strengths are, which some other people may have called challenges, right? But you don't have to listen to them anymore. That's their opinion. You look at your pattern awareness, you look at all of your strengths and say, I know I can do something with this. How do you manage the constant stream of ideas that comes with ADHD? Because that's where I'm at, is sequencing. Sequencing has become my biggest focus and to the point. Let me tell you a quick funny story. I'm a scrapbooker. My green time is my crafting time. I'm a scrapbooker, and if I get out of order, I have to undo the page and redo it again. So, sequencing of ideas, not putting the cart before the horse is another thing that constantly comes up in my thinking process and my emotional dump. Okay, am I saying to AI, should I do this or should I do that?
No, I absolutely hear you. So nowadays, if I'm maybe creating an AI agent to do a series of jobs, in my mind, I've got an idea what the sequence should look like, but I'll actually have a conversation with Claude, which is like the mother AI to co-work, and say, look, this is my thought about the sequence. Can you explain, would that work for an AI agent? And then it will go, that's interesting, Charlene. How did you come up with that? And then it will help me sequence differently. So when it comes to automated jobs, I'll speak my neurospiciness into an AI and get it into a sequence that's going to make sense for AI.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I just gave it what was in my brain, it might not ever get the job done. So I use Claude as a translator to speak to co-work to get the agent created and to do the job that I need it to do. So that's how I do it now. Yeah. But before AI would be using post-it notes. So
Okay.
post-it notes are
Yep.
great because I can get everything out. I can use different color post-it notes for different things. And then what I can do is because they're not permanent, I can move them. And so then what would that, I gave myself a different level of grace because I could just get everything out. And then if it wasn't okay, it's okay because it was never really okay. I could move them around until they made sense. So pretty much post-it notes on walls has been like the way that I have managed everything from building a team, from writing a speech to writing a book, whatever it is that I've done, and post-it notes has been my saving grace. Now, there are some great post-it notes here in Australia, and I think you've got them in the States too. They are actually, there's no sticky on them. They're static. So they're like a
Oh.
plastic. And so you can't write through them, so they won't go onto the wall, and you can just stick them directly onto paint. So they're great. So if you're doing a workshop or if you're in a place where you can't put post-it notes up, these are great because you can put them everywhere. So I love those. I have an inappropriate amount of post-it notes. And if I'm going anywhere with other norms, like other not they're not neurospicy humans, I'll be the person that walks in with colored markers and post-it notes because
Mm-hmm.
they're the things that are going to help me sort the mess out.
Uh-huh. This is my post-it note. Is a 5x7 colored index card. And you're right. I mean, we can take those ideas. I was just telling this to my client the other day. The nice thing about index cards when you're writing a book is, I get an idea I want to put in this book. You don't have to start with that white piece of paper, is what I was saying. The white piece of paper is the overload. And that's what I said to her. The white, a blank white piece of paper is overload, but you're in the middle of your day, like, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. I got to write it down on the index card. You put it on the index card. Some of you may have a table of contents already picked out. Others may say, here's the pattern. I know exactly where this book, where this post-it note, where this index card belongs. And that's how I wrote my first book was through index cards and shuffling them
Yeah,
around. So I so get that.
it's so true. So, as a speaker, one of the things that we rely on really heavily is our stories. And so, back in the day, so I've been a speaker for a hot minute. Back in the day, I used to just have a wad of post-it notes. Well, now they're in Google Docs. And I get Gemini to go, this is the speech that I'm doing. I need stories about this. And it goes through my library of nearly 700 stories and it gives me a list of stories that are going to fit that particular presentation. And then I can build them into the presentation. So I'm using AI to help me manage my inordinate amount of ideas and stuff. It's really made a huge difference. And yeah, and I get a lot of people working with me to create their models that are on a spectrum.
Mhm.
And so I think it's partly because I'm neurospicy and I get them. And What I find is that they've got so many ideas, they just don't know the direction. So, yeah, I run a free masterclass, which would be great if I can leave the link with you. It's every month. It's at a great time, actually, for your time zone. So it's in about a half an hour from now. So it's
All
still
right.
doable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And I have one of those once a month on your Wednesday, my Thursday. So yeah, I'd love to leave you with a link. It's called Expert Authority, and it's how to actually unpack your visual models.
That's great. This is a great time to tell everybody and remind everybody who's been here for a little while along with this YouTube channel, the Aspie Bridge, I have a complimenting Facebook group page where I put all of my guests who are coming and their bios and their headshots so that you can go and find the guest that you resonate with, the one that you want to talk to more, the one who's offering resources. You go into the Aspie Bridge Facebook group page, which is public page. You can go in and see all my guests. You can go right to Charlene's profile and her bio and her picture, and right under that, she'll have her links there, or you can send her a question there because I have invited you now to be a member of the Facebook group page, and you can see all my wonderful bridge builders, which is what I call the people who have helped me to get to where I am today, which is the 97th episode. I am so grateful to all my wonderful guests who have come on to help with this podcast because it helps all of you listeners who are feeling so I don't know where to go, especially the late diagnosed ones who never were told what was going on. They had to try and figure it out by themselves. Charlene, let me ask you a question just on the side. Did you ever feel like you were in one of those pinball machines where someone pulled down the lever and the pinball went up and then it might have dinged it across a couple things and it would stay there for a little while and then eventually it would go down through the chute until someone pulled it again. That's what my life always felt like is I would be pulled up and the ball would hit some of the different clangers as it went down. And sometimes it'd be there for a few minutes, bumping up against it. And then, can you imagine what that was like to have an idea, sit for a little while, and you'd be there, and then something else would come along?
Yeah, yes, it was like sitting in a speeding train and looking out the window. Like, I absolutely understand. You'd have a thought, and then it would go, and then there'd be another one. Yes, it was, and I'm still like that. And now it's just about managing it and managing it differently. And as far as all of the feedback that I've had from people since I was a child, it's just feedback. And I can just now, hand on heart, say thank you for your feedback. But it is just their feedback, and so I don't have to be attached to their opinions of me, because I'm a child of God, and I'm making a difference for humans, and I'm living my best life. I'm living my dream life, and you know what? Haters will be haters. And I constantly say, you spot it, you got it. Because if they've got a problem, it's usually coming from their side of the fence. So yes, and so water off a duck's back, yeah, mostly. And I just say go with grace.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll hold up the hand like a mirror and just say, I gotcha. I understand. And the ones that complain about other people the most, I'm like, yeah, mm-hmm. I'm seeing a pattern here, but anyway, that's the whole thing. I have to teach people how to put the bubble around them who haven't quite gotten that skill yet of recognizing that people's opinions are their opinions. I just talked to my client on Friday about this. That's them. That's their problem. And I could go on in the victimhood hole and say, well, my brother doesn't respect me and my mother doesn't do this. And I'm like, there's no energy gained by complaining. You have to let them be, and you have to take on your own beingness because you wouldn't be breathing. Your heart would not be beating if you weren't worthy of being here.
Yes, it's so true about stepping out of the space of being the victim. So the biggest change for me was stepping out of the space of being the victim and stepping into the space of being the victor and stopping with the blame, the excuses and the denial and just taking ownership and accountability and responsibility and just moving forward. And yeah, it just changed everything. It's been such a privilege and a pleasure to have this beautiful conversation.
I'm
And I really have enjoyed it. I'm going to share the link with you so you can pop that in the show notes
perfect.
because
Is there one last thing you'd like the listeners to learn? If they didn't remember anything from our podcast, what is one thing you can think of that you would like them to remember from our podcast?
you've got this. You were designed this way. Regardless of how you feel right now, just know that you do have, you've got this. You were designed. And so just step into that power and keep moving forward. And look, check your proximity. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that support you and want good for you and to move forward because we are the average of our five closest friends. So do the maths. And if you're not where you need to be, maybe check that one out. But know that you've got this.
That's what I'm doing. Yes. And my final words are no matter what people tell you is your challenge, it's actually your strength. So go with it. So thank you, Charlene. I know you have to run, but I'm so glad that you fit our podcast into your day. I really appreciate you coming.
Bye for now.
Have a great day, everyone. And next week, come and join us for our next neurodivergent success coach to help you to go on your road to success. And have a great day.